Okay, so we've gone from severely hot to severely cold, and it's severely cold. It's the kind of cold that sort of like you feel like somebody's grabbing you real tight, and they're like squeezing you. It's almost like a boa constrictor kind of cold. At any rate, summer's over, winter's here. It was 13 degrees last night, wind chill factor, but it was like something like 28 degrees, but with a wind chill that was like 30 something, so 13 or something like that. So I'm sorry, I'm tired. At any rate, I guess now is the time to come totally clean about this, I guess. I was reading something the other day. It said that people who make minimum wage work don't want to work harder than it takes to make an average life. They won't do the work that it takes to give them a better life. I think it's kind of stupid, actually. It was in some kind of minority minimum wage report that I saw online on how to get out of the minority, and it says that people who are barely making a living won't do the work that's required to improve their quality of life. I know people that work every day. They don't have any days off, and they're barely making a living. And they've looked for everything. They've increased their education. They've done just about. My brother's got 3 degrees, and he lives in an apartment in like an impoverished area. I mean, the people in the neighborhood destroyed the paint job on my truck by throwing brake fluid on it. Cops were all over the place, like arresting people. They egged my truck. They threw eggs at it and stuff like that. They broke into some people's stuff. They actually took the molding off of one of my windows in his neighborhood and tried to jimmy the door open and like hold the button down on the alarm. So he lives in a pretty bad neighborhood, but the man's got 3 degrees, and you know, the critics or the people who make up these stupid little sayings about people who make minimum wage, who are the minority, don't want to do anything to improve the quality of their life. They'll have another excuse. Oh, they're not thinking smart. Oh, they're in the wrong area. Oh, they're not investigating. Oh, this, oh, that. It's ludicrous. It's always going to be something. There's always, once you got the answer, it's easy to make up another problem. It's easy to pass something when it's standing still. You know what I mean? So, coming clean, yeah. Well, I work hard. Don't work smart because I'm not that smart. But I seem to have been gifted with a lot of stuff, like the phone I have. The guy just left it on the account, and I haven't run the minutes up over what they're regulated on a monthly basis, so I haven't really ran up any charges on the phone that are exaggerate. So it's sort of like the phone doesn't even cost anything. So I've had a phone for about, I don't know, 7 years, and I've never had to pay a phone bill, and I've had a cell phone. So we could look at that as like a blessing. You know, the truck, of course, I've mentioned the truck. I guess, you know, the only way to do this is to like do it step by step in a thoughtful process. I'm not going to try to prove this right now, but I probably will put something together in the future and sort of like show it to as a validation for the statements that I'm about to make, because of the fact that I don't want too much negative feedback from this, and I don't, but this being the internet, people do malicious things by like incognito and behind the scenes in ways where they make sure that they won't get caught, so their maliciousness never gets traced back to them, and they find that to be pretty exciting. And I think people like that should all be flown up to about 70,000 feet and dropped from an airplane over anything, just to see who survives and who doesn't. But at any rate, I won't offer like legitimate proof to these claims yet, but living like this out in the wilderness, I've been hustling. I said I had the parking valet job, and I have a job working security. I do like bouncer type work. But what's really cool is that I was on The Wire on HBO for four seasons. If you watch any episode of The Wire from season 2 to 5 or 3 to 5, I can't remember which one it was. If you watch any season, like, you've already seen my face, so it's like, but if you go watch The Wire, you'll see my face on there. And I did that from living in this truck. And also, like, a friend of mine that lives up in Baltimore let me live in his place for a while. He runs a pest control business. Love you, Eric, if you ever see this. But I was on season like 2, 3, 4, and 5, or either 3, 4, and 5. I think it was 3 or 4 years on The Wire, constantly playing different characters. So if you look real close, you see me. I was even Police Chief Burrell's aide. My character name was Major Norm Thurston. I don't think I really got credits or anything like that, but I might have. I don't have anything or any way of watching except on my computer. Usually they don't show the credits. At any rate, I was also in the first episode of Oz, like Oz season 1, episode 1. I was in Shooter with Mark Wahlberg. I was in the Sentinel with Michael Douglas and Kiefer Sutherland. I got to ride around in the back of the presidential limo, mock-up of the presidential limo, for like 13 hours. Everybody thought I was George Bush, and they started giving me a finger. I was living in this truck, and I was going from opulence to squalid living, just in a blink of an eye. I mean, I went from eating like 3 square meals as an actor and living on a set, like working hard, like in the Russell Crowe movie when we did what was the Russell Crowe movie? I'll remember it sooner. But Russell Crowe came to DC into the movie, and on the set, I was eating like T-bone steak, salmon. I mean, we were getting fed lavishly, and I was eating like 3 heavy-duty square meals a day. But we were also working out in the cold. Like, I worked 12 hours in like at least 10 degrees, if not more, because it was called A State of Play with Ben Affleck. That's what it was. We were like working on the Roslyn metro station, and it's like almost 2 football fields long on the escalator, and the wind was like blowing up all over us, and I was freezing to death. But that's how we worked, and we got paid well, we got fed well, and I came back and slept in this truck. I've been in a movie with George Clooney and Brad Pitt. I worked on The Breach with Chris Cooper. I've done a lot. I mean, I've got so many movie credits that I've done, and we're not talking like anything to be ashamed of. Or I know a lot of people consider extras to be like unessential